Hello everyone, thanks for stopping by and checking out my channel. Now I've been playing the Phantom Liberty expansion now for about 2 weeks, thanks to the early review copy I was provided from CD Projekt Red. So I have over 100 plus hours spent between two separate characters, exploring, doing all the side missions and the gigs, doing the main story, picking different endings and outcomes, and I've experienced everything that this new expansion has to offer. So I figured I'd make a video for you guys going over some tips and tricks that I wish I knew sooner in my Phantom Liberty playthrough. So the first tip is a bit of a reminder for those of you that didn't play Update 2.0 and waited until the DLC dropped. But if you didn't know, if you're picking up where you left off and you're playing with your old character, with all the new skill changes and the skill tree overhauls, CDPR was nice enough to let everybody reset all of their attributes. Now when it comes to the individual skill points, you can refund these at any point as many times as you want, so you can kind of experiment and try different builds and stuff. But unfortunately, this does not apply to your attributes. So the level cap has been raised up to 60, but unfortunately you still can't max out every single one of the skill trees. There is going to be a cap and you are going to have to pick and choose, but you do have the option to reset this one time and one time only. So if you're just now hopping back into the game and you see all these new skills and you realize, hey, you want to play around with something different, you can reset your attributes once. So be super careful going forward, because if you screw up any with your attribute points, you aren't going to be able to refund them going forward, and you're going to have to make a new character. Alright, so the next tip has to do with food vendors. Now in the base game, I had just a ton of junk in my inventory. I mean, I still have a ton of junk in my inventory, and my problem is that I never think to pause the game, go into my backpack, and then eat some food to get a buff before I go into combat. And that has always been an issue. I just never thought to purchase food, so I've never gone to a vendor to buy food because I just don't use it. Well, in the Phantom Liberty expansion, don't skip out on the food vendors. The food vendors are actually pretty important now, because all of the new food vendors in the Phantom Liberty expansion are all going to sell at least one permanent buff that you can purchase. This can range anywhere from extra carrying capacity to a couple percentage points of max health to maybe some quicker cooldown time for your quick hacks. And there's even a new vendor in the black market, and they will sell XP gains for individual skill trees, and they can even sell extra skill points. But do be warned that buying these permanent buffs is going to end up being a bit expensive. So next up, I want to talk about the brand new repeatable vehicle contracts. Now when playing Phantom Liberty, you're going to be coming across this brand new vehicle icon on your minimap pretty much all the time. And when you see this icon, you're going to want to steal this vehicle and deliver it to El Capitan. And trust me, you're not going to want to skip out on these missions. I recommend doing them pretty much anytime you get the chance. In my playthrough, anytime I was in between gigs or in between main story missions, I would always see one of these contracts pop up and I would immediately take them, because when you do them, they actually give an insane amount of good rewards. Now with the 2.0 update and the complete overhaul to vehicle combat, these missions are a ton of fun because you get to experience everything that the vehicle combat has to offer. And sometimes you'll get the additional option to complete the mission as fast as possible, and if you're able to complete the time limit, they will give you even better rewards. And some of the different rewards you can get are legendary weapons, high-level crafting components, thousands of dollars every time you complete one of these. Sometimes you can get additional XP shards for some bonus XP, and the most important reward you can get, in my opinion, is the vehicle discounts that you can use at the brand new vehicle website. And what's cool about this is that the discount bonus will continue to stack until you decide to buy a vehicle. So as you can see here, I was able to complete enough of these vehicle missions to get a 95% discount on any vehicle on the website. So if you are a vehicle collector like me, I like to have every single vehicle in the game, but obviously that's going to be pretty expensive. So I highly recommend you do these missions because one, it's going to make you a ton of money, especially if you sell all the legendary weapons. I'm talking upwards of like $20,000 per mission, and that discount is going to be the fastest way that you can purchase all these new vehicles. So the next tip I have for everybody has to do with the brand new black market dealer, because at any point in the game, if you play through a mission and you miss out on one of the iconic weapons, that iconic weapon will then show up in this vendor's inventory for you to purchase. So for example, when I first came across this merchant, he was selling 5 different iconic weapons that I just completely missed in my original playthrough. That, and he also sells a couple of brand new iconic weapons and a couple of brand new crafting recipes to make some new weapons as well. Another quick tip is that while you are in a vehicle, you in fact have unlimited ammo. So if you're on the back of a motorcycle or something and you pull out your pistol, feel free to spray as many bullets as you want because it's not going to take from your overall ammo count. So the next tip might sound pretty simple, but it's to explore Dogtown as much as possible. There are a ton of hidden secrets that are not listed on the map. I couldn't tell you how many different things I was able to discover just by exploring. There was a number of brand new iconic weapons I was able to find just lying around in the environment. That, and there's a ton of secret chests that you can find. For example, I was just screwing around and I was climbing on top of skyscrapers just to see how high I could get. And to my surprise, there was actually a hidden chest at the very top that had some pretty good loot in it. So Dogtown is actually pretty big in size. It's definitely a lot bigger than what it appears on the map. So be sure to explore every nook and cranny, and I guarantee you're going to find a ton of really cool secrets. So next up, another thing I want to talk about is the brand new repeatable airdrops. Now, while you're in Dogtown, you're going to come across these repeatable events where a smoke flare will get deployed, and then they will drop a care package from the sky. Now, normally this is going to lead to some sort of gang confrontation, or there's going to be a heavy presence of just a lot of enemies in these areas. And these chests are normally worth it as well because they normally come with skill shards to give you additional XP. They normally come with a couple legendary weapons, and sometimes they'll even drop some legendary cyberware or some legendary quick hacks. Now, this next tip is one that I definitely wish I discovered way sooner in my playthrough, and that's because I didn't figure out how to do this until about 70 or 80 hours into the expansion. Now, this tip is slightly spoilery because it has to do with one of the very first boss encounters that you come across in the Phantom Liberty expansion, but at one point early on in the expansion, you're going to have to go up against the Chimera tank in a boss fight. Now, this boss fight can be a bit difficult, but at the very end of the encounter, once you defeat the tank, it is going to drop an active Chimera core. Now, I went through the entire DLC not knowing what the heck this thing was for, and the reason it took me so long to figure out how to use this thing is because it was actually listed under the miscellaneous tab, and it didn't really give much of a description as to how to use it. But as it turns out, this ends up being one of the most important and best items in all of the Phantom Liberty expansion, because what I've discovered is that there's actually a number of different uses for this Chimera core. The first use for it is if you head back to V's apartment, there's actually a place where you can set it down and display it as a trophy. So if you're the type of player that likes to decorate their apartment, this is a pretty cool option to have. But the most important feature that can be easily missed because it's not really explained anywhere is that you can actually use this as a crafting material to craft a very rare and unique weapon mod. Now, there are a number of different mods that you can craft. There's a melee weapon mod. It says when an enemy is below 50% health, each hit to their head or limbs has a 20% chance to dismember or instantly kill, and this mod can be unequipped at any time. Then there's also a mod for smart weapons. It gives you a 5% chance to apply a quick hack effect. Each type depends on the body part hit. So if you're using a fully automatic smart weapon, every single hit you do to an enemy has a 5% chance to apply a quick hack. Then the tech weapon mod allows you to charge the weapon up to 200% its capacity without increasing the charge time. It also gives you 100% armor penetration and no penalty for penetrating cover. In my opinion, this is probably one of the best ones you can get because that 200% capacity is just absolutely nuts. And then the final mod you can craft is a power weapon mod, and this will make the weapon shoot explosive rounds. So any one of these mods are a great option depending on your playstyle, and they will completely overhaul a weapon, especially if it's an iconic weapon and it has mod slots. These weapon mods are complete game changers and will turn any ordinary weapon into something legendary. So don't be like me and wait until the very end of the expansion to figure this out. As soon as you defeat this tank, I would immediately take advantage of this and make yourself a legendary weapon mod. And then the final tip that I have for you all in today's video is that if you come across any of the main story missions or a side mission or a gig, and at the end of the mission there are multiple choices, I would make a save right before you make your final decision if you care more about the reward than you do the actual outcome of the mission. Because from what I've noticed, a lot of the missions that have two different choices at the end can actually give you a different award. So for example, at the end of this side mission, it's going to give you a choice of siding between two different people, and depending on who you decide to kill, you're going to get a different iconic weapon. So I tried all of the different outcomes. You can either side with the woman, or you can side with the man, or you can decide to kill both of them and get both of their weapons, which is what I decided to do. So be extra careful when you're completing missions in Phantom Liberty, because a lot of your decisions actually hold some weight to them, and depending on the choices you make, you can get different awards and even completely different endings. But that is going to do it for everything in this video, guys. If you guys enjoyed it, then please give this video a thumbs up. It's greatly appreciated. And if you're new here, be sure to hit the subscribe button. That way you guys don't miss out on any future Cyberpunk videos. The next couple of videos, I'm going to be showing you guys how to find the best brand new iconic weapons, so you definitely don't want to miss out on that. And that is going to do it for me, everyone, and I will talk to you all in the next video.